All right, so Draymond Green had Mark Cuban on his podcast. Asked him about a whole lot of things, man. You should go check it out. But I was interested in what he asked him about Kyrie because he was like, "Hey, man, that trade was a big deal, and that was a controversial trade. When you did it, what did you see that everyone else didn't see, where you thought it was a good idea to take a chance on Kyrie Irving?" This is what he said.
When you watch Kai back then and now, after any game, he's hugging five guys.
Yes. Yes, he is.
You know, it's not like high five, quick hug, walk off the court. He's hugging you like you're related.
Yes, he is.
You know, and that's different. Mm-hmm. And when you talk to people around him before we did the deal, nobody disliked him. Everybody loved him. When you talk to teammates, you know, current and former, loved him, right? And when you asked them what the issue was, it was like, well, you know, media, you know, and Kyrie's just a caring guy, and sometimes he lets that heart come through, and the media doesn't appreciate it. I'm like, shit, I can deal with the media. This is Dallas. I've grown up dealing with the media. I'll take all those bullets like I've done for other guys, you know. And then Nico knows him, and you know, help him issue. Nico's like, this guy's great. Everybody, you know, I know the kid. He's a good kid. He's got a great heart. Just, you know, bad situation. If COVID never happened, probably be a completely different situation, right? So we're like, okay, let's go for it. And let me just tell you, I love Kai to death. You know, the more I talk to him, he's got a heart of gold, right? And he cares about too many things, right? If he's got a problem, it's like he's too caring about too many things. He's the dude like when you're in college and you and your guys are talking about alcohol and getting drunk and, you know, girls. He wants to talk about world peace and the indigenous tribes of Australia, right? And, you know, everything else is off limits. Everybody else is doing their thing, right? I just wants to open up and talk about that. And when you're on social media and you're talking to the media about those things, there's no nuance in this world anymore, right? They're not going to get that. And like Kai and I will talk like after Hamas attacked Israel, right? And we're talking and we're like, I'm like, what do you think, Kai? And he's like, look, terrorist is wrong, right? But how can you not feel for the you know, not only the people that got slaughtered in Israel, but what's going to happen to the Gazans, right? And what's going to happen. He's not like taking sides, and he's certainly against terrorism. And he's like, clear, I'm against terrorism, but he wants to feel how other people feel. You know, he respects that pain, you know, and it's not just, you know, the Middle East, it's Australia, it's Sudan, it's, you know, American Indians in this country, it's Lakota tribe. Like I'm sending him links to documentaries on the Lakota tribe, right? He wants to learn and he wants to care about those things. And how many people do you know like that?
Yeah, that's a fact. Not many. So that's a special person.
All right, so I'm going to pause it there. So why is this important, right? When Kyrie Irving was in Brooklyn, he wasn't bothering nobody. He was ready to play. He showed up. He was in shape. You know, he was ready to go. But he had two obstacles. One being the first thing that happened is that he refused to take the vaccination. You know, he refused to vax, which is his own right. Now, at that time, people really didn't understand it. But now hindsight being 2020, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like if you just take the initial shock out of it and can look way ahead, sometimes you cannot be emotional about something. There was so many people that was so emotional about this Kyrie situation with the vax that they was projecting their fears and you know out on him, and I guess they felt disrespected. Like, why you feel like you better than everybody else and you can't take the vax and we got to take it, and you're making everybody around you sick. And you know, they just felt like that he wasn't respecting people, and they felt like that disrespect that they was giving him and disrespect that the media was giving him was all warranted. And they, you know, they didn't even stick up for him when they was going too far. Like, you know, Kendrick Perkins saying he's dumb and saying if he put his brain inside of a bird, the bird would fly backwards. And Stephen A. Smith going on there every single time they talked about Kyrie, he would talk about, don't give him no money, don't give him a contract extension, play hardball with him, trade him. If it wasn't for Kevin Durant, the Nets would have been traded him. All this crazy stuff. Even him admitting later on that he was having private conversations with Sean Marks. He didn't admit that he was having conversations with Josiah, but I'm pretty sure he was, or whatever he was saying with Sean Marks was actually getting back to Josiah. But he was having private conversations with Sean Marks about the situation. And if he's going on public TV and saying, don't give him a contract, what the heck do you think he was saying to Sean Marks in private? Right. So I don't know why it was such a big deal for them to say, don't give him an extension, pay him 1 year at a time. He don't want to play basketball and all of this crazy stuff. When it couldn't have been further from the truth. The only time he really missed before that was due to injury. Right. And the one situation after the January 6th thing happened at the not the White House, but at the Capitol, hey, I need some time, because what Mark Cuban just explained, he cares about too much stuff. And Stephen A. Smith made that a bad thing. What do you mean you don't want to show up to work because what happened at January 6th? There's people that lost their lives, and that was a traumatic incident, right? If think about the things that touches you deeply, like a sick family member, or God forbid, something worse than being sick, that touches you, and everyone understands, take the time you need. But what if you were such a caring person like Kyrie Irving that January 6th touched you as well, just as deep as a family member's sickness would touch you? That's how he felt about it. That's what we know about Kyrie Irving now. He cares about those things. And that's what Mark Cuban was explaining. Like, when you talk to him, you understand he genuinely cares about that stuff. Something happened with in Israel or with Hamas or with the Palestinians, anything, he cared. Capitol got raided, he cared. People dying from the vax, he cared. He see that during COVID, the WNBA was missing a lot of checks and money. He came in and he helped raise money and gave money out of his own check. I want to say some of the victims, I don't know if it was George Floyd or Breonna Taylor or people that was in this, he was donating money without a camera around. Like, we found out about it later that he was doing all that. He's been donating so much of his money to so many different causes, his tribe. Like, he really genuinely cares about that stuff. And normal people probably just don't understand that. Like, why do you care that much about those things? Well, you needed a break from basketball for 3 days. I think he missed a game or two because of the January thing. And if you really think about it, like, I want to compare that to the football player. I want to say the football player was part of the LGBT community. He was a lineman. And when he played for the Raiders, and when John Gruden had those emails come out, and all those emails had sexist, racist, and homophobic things in the email, just the fact that he used to be close to that coach and that coach coached him and got fired, he needed a break. He took time off he missed the game, and everyone understood that, oh man, someone you was close to, you found out, felt that way about somebody in your community, right? That was okay with him taking time off, but it was wrong for Kyrie Irving to take time off because of January 6th. But anyway, the January 6th thing happened. I think he needed some time off, and then he didn't want to take the vax, which is not him saying I don't want to work. That's just him saying I don't want to take the vax. And they had something worked out to where he could get immunity, not immunity, but he can get waived from being able to take the vax due to religious reasons. He was supposed to get religious accommodation, right? And they had agreed on that in Brooklyn. But when the mayor came out and made that mandate, Brooklyn didn't have his back. So they went back on that and was like, hey, we can't, we can't give you that leeway due to your religious reasons. You have to take the vax or you can't play. Or you can't play in Brooklyn. And which he was like, no, I can't. I just can't do it. I can't just go against. I'm really a believer. I'm not just putting on a fake facade for religion. Like, I'm really a believer. Like, I really practice my religion, right? I'm not a faker. So no, I'm not just going to put it away for basketball. They didn't like that. So instead of them saying, well, oh man, we can't have you for half the season because you can't play home games in Brooklyn, but you can play everywhere else. They was like, well, we're going to suspend you for all the games. Horrible thing to do, right? We're going to suspend you for all of them. That's way to not have your players back. And then you go out and let the media just destroy him with no protection. And the only person that was trying to protect him was Kevin Durant. And now they try to make it seem like Kevin Durant's a horrible leader because Kyrie don't want to take the vax, which is funny because they're protecting Steph Curry in the media for what Draymond Green is doing and saying, they don't have anything to do with Steph Curry's leadership. But Kyrie Irving practicing his religion has something to do with Kevin Durant leadership. I just thought that was real funny. It was the same people who were saying this. Very funny to me, right? But no one's backing up Kevin Durant with this non-leadership thing. Charles Barkley's doubling down and saying all this crazy stuff. How is he a bad leader? That's a topic for another day. So Kyrie Irving is getting punished by his own team. Nobody in his organization have his back, from the owner to the GM. I don't know what Steve Nash felt about it, but I don't know what the coach thought. But they really was selling him, either you can't play or you're going to go put this in your body and go against your religion, and we don't care about your religion. Horrible thing to do, right? Then once that got cleared all out and the mandate got lifted, he was able to play. He showed up ready to go, in shape. He didn't need 2 weeks to ramp up. They said, all right, you can play tomorrow, and he was ready to go. Came out dropping 30, 40 points. Things of that nature, right? Amazing everybody. Lets you know how professional he is, right? Then all that is done, and they get put out in the playoffs, first round by Boston. Then they come back the next year. They got a whole training camp ready to go. And Kyrie Irving wants a contract extension. And they're playing hardball with him. And Stephen A. Smith is all in the media. Play hardball with him. Don't give him anything. 1 year deal. 1 year deal. And getting all his flunkies to agree with it and all that stuff. And now you got the media and his organization working against him to not give him what he deserved. And they're using the vaccination as leverage on why he shouldn't get a long-term deal. Very odd. This coming from your organization. So Kevin Durant said, all right, man, just trade me. If y'all ain't gonna do what y'all said we was gonna do. I mean, we came up, we showed up here, we ready to go. Then y'all do a trade for Harden. We got Harden, and the plan was for all of us to extend, right? And give it at least a shot, 3-4 year shot, to see what we can do in 4 years. And then y'all start, all right, Harden, we gonna let him go. Then we go play hardball with Kyrie and start changing the plan. And KD was like, look, I came over here with Kyrie to play with Kyrie. You can't start changing the plan and telling me he's not in your future plans. Because if he's not in your future plans, then I'm not either. You have to let me go. Trade me. They worked it out, came back. They must have told Kevin Durant, well, at least let us see how Kyrie behaves midway through the season, and then we extend him before the deadline is up, right? And KD was like, okay, I agree with that. I'll come back. They played. Kevin Durant gets hurt. Kyrie's out there doing his thing. He's showing up. And it wasn't good enough for Brooklyn. So when it came contract time and Kyrie was like, all right, what's up? What's up with the contract? They was like, nah, not so much. So Kyrie was like, man, just trade me, right? And that's where we are now. Fumbled the bag with that. Another thing I wanted to mention, though, is I remember when he was practicing just like he is right now, it was Ramadan. And this was the year after, this is the COVID year. He's in the playoffs. Was it the playoffs, or it was just before the playoffs? He's going through Ramadan and he's fasting. And he would come in, I think at halftime, and have his first meal of the day, right? Because he couldn't eat before then. So he's playing a game, an NBA game, and then he has his first meal of the day sometime around right before halftime or something like that. And the Brooklyn Nets wasn't even trying to accommodate him. Like, he was bringing his own little Lunchables on the side of the thing, his own little grapes and stuff like that. Listen to how Mark Cuban dealt with it.
But, just being able to communicate with him about those things, it's special. And it's like now with Ramadan, right? It's not like, okay, no, it's okay, let's make sure we have food. Nico and I have the conversation. The minute that sun goes down, feed the guy,
there
right?
you go. Absolutely.
We were playing, I forget where we were playing. Oh my God. It wasn't anyways, he's looking, you could tell what time it was, right? And the minute he got a timeout, he ran to the back and he came out with some food and everything. And I'm like, oh shit, right, we got to do this right. I didn't even think about it originally, and it was like the first day of Ramadan, and so Nico and I talked, and okay, we're going to get this right for him. And it's just those little things that when you respect a player, from Luka to Kai to all the way down, when you respect them, they know it, right?
Yes.
And you try to do the things, and it helps.
No.
He said, when you respect the player, you do things like this. He's saying Kyrie trying to fend for himself with his meal during Ramadan, and he was like, shoot, we got to accommodate this dude. So him and the GM talked about how that was going to help cater food and have food ready for him, which is not even a big deal for them to do with an organization like an NBA team. He said, we go cater to him and have food ready for him. And that's what they did. That's just the small things that show that you actually care. And when you look back at that Brooklyn situation, there's not one thing that Sean Marks or Joe Tsai did to show that they supported Kyrie Irving or even cared about him. That's the first thing Kevin Durant did when the trade first went down, or the trade discussions was going down. He was like, man, y'all didn't even know that it was during the summer. He said, y'all didn't even try to get to know him. And that's him from the inside saying that, like, that y'all didn't even try to sit down and get to know the dude on a personal level. Y'all didn't even try to get to know him. And not to mention that crap they put him through for the tweet. Was it a tweet? Yeah, the tweet that they claimed was anti-Semitic that Mark Cuban said it wasn't. I think Mark Cuban mentioned
he is. I mean, he's somebody that when you get, there's certain people, when you hug them, you feel who they are.
100%.
That's Kyrie Irving.
100%. Did you take, as a Jewish man though, did you get a lot of backlash from like Jewish friends or Jewish family members?
Oh, yeah.
Because yeah.
Yeah, no, but the minute I talked to him, like, dude, I talked to him. He's not anti-Semitic.
Yes.
I know Jewish people who are more anti-Semitic than he is, right?
He said, I know Jewish people more anti-Semitic than him. He's not, just from one time talking to him, I knew he was, and this is coming from a Jewish man. I knew he wasn't anti-Semitic. That's all it would have took for Sean Marks or Joe Tsai. But the reason why they didn't do that is because they was trying to use these things in the media against him, either so they could look like they're in the right when they do whatever they do to him, versus whether it was trade him. I don't know who they was trying to prove that to. I don't know if he was trying to prove the KD or the public perception. They were trying to use the media and some of these things to prove that Kyrie is worthy of getting traded or worthy of not getting his contract. So I don't know if their plan was to try to get him on the cheap without giving him a max extension and give him something half of that, or what. I don't know what the plan was. So the only thing I could think of is they didn't have his best interest at heart, right? And Mark Cuban seems to have that, man. So that's my thoughts on that, man. So I'm gonna open the phone lines up and get y'all thoughts on it, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think. All right, so phone lines are open, man. Excuse me that I had to. So 336-456-6453. Call in, give me your thoughts on it. Or not. It look like everybody shot today. A lot of people in the comments, but nobody to call in. Let me see what y'all saying in the comments then. He's not anti-Semitic. They are anti-black. That's it seems that way, don't it? It really seems that way. Saying that is ignorant in itself. He can post what he wants. I agree. All right, caller from New York.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. What's up?
I'm all right.
So you were in New York, man. So you probably had a understanding of what the fans was feeling like during this whole thing that was going on in Brooklyn.
Yeah, it was a mixed feeling, to be honest. We heard both sides. Some were rooting for, some against. On the other hand, I think I became a Kyrie Irving fan through all of that.
Yeah.
I used to root against him in Cleveland, but I got to really see who he is and his character and his integrity, right?
Right.
And it was nothing malicious about what he did. It was just him, gaining knowledge, wanting to share it. He didn't put anything on the tweet.
Right. Do you see a major difference in how Mark Cuban is treating him versus how?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he seems happy.
He does, doesn't it? Less pressure too, right?
Right, and that makes the difference. When you're in a space where you're wanted.
Yeah.
You feel the difference, and it makes you gain pleasure in doing what you love under those circumstances. Like going to work miserable every day is never a good thing.
Right.
As far as the media, I lost a lot of respect for the media. I mean, shows like yours and some of the others kind of took the place where I used to watch ESPN. I used to watch First Take. I don't watch. How they blasted Kyrie was disappointing. What they did with Westbrook, horrible. So these two guys I gained an appreciation for.
Yeah, they had. Yeah, because it's not easy to get all of that. That type of venom coming from platforms that are really huge and got a lot of reach, and it actually kind of brainwashes a lot of people and a lot of fans. Like what is said on ESPN turns into gospel for a lot of NBA fans, man. So whatever if they say Kyrie Irving is lazy and don't play defense, that you're here being repeated in circles like in communities like this, and people actually think that. Or someone says that he don't like showing up from work, which is what Stephen A. Smith was telling everybody, and people actually will repeat that like verbatim.
Right.
And I think I just think it's crazy.
No, some of the other correspondents are former basketball players. They're calling him a fool, calling him an idiot.
Yeah.
That was distasteful.
Yeah.
And even I love Shaq, but even Shaq said that, and I don't know if it's accurate, but I heard that he showed the same movie in his theater. I don't know how true that is. But
no, it's true. It's true. Case, but he probably didn't know that though. It ain't like he running the daily operations of the theater. But
true.
But that movie did play at his theater though. That's true. Which is funny. It's just hilarious. Like it's funny, man. Really funny. But when the wave is going one way, you got to ride with the wave. And when you work in the media and everything is going in this direction, it's very hard to be the guy that's going against the grain, right? So what Barkley and Shaq and them actually did, they just went with the wave, man, because that's who paid them. That's the company that they work for, and it's not a good idea to be on the opposite end of the company you work for, so which is unfortunate for guys that's sitting back with hundreds of millions of dollars in their bank account thinking like that. I think that's unfortunate, but I think that was the way that TNT and whoever in ESPN was telling them that they need to go, or even if they don't tell them that, they get the idea. This is the way we need to go. This is how you stay. This is how you stay in this business and stay afloat. You don't go against the grain. But I appreciate the call, man. I'm gonna open the phone lines up for one more. Thanks. All right, we can get one more phone call in here. Caller from, can you hear me, from Colorado? Well, hold on. Let me see if I can fix this. I got you on two separate devices. Hold on. Let me see if I can fix that. It's crazy because so my let me explain. So my phone connects to my my mixer through Bluetooth, right? It's still not fixed. So let me explain it. So if it connects to my roadcaster through Bluetooth, but it also automatically connects to my car through Bluetooth as well. And my wife just started the car. so it got confused, man. So man. Let me see if I can fix this. Yeah, I can hear you, but the audience can't hear you till I reconnect this thing. So I apologize for that, but all right, Chad, can you hear me? Man, it's still not connected.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, now you good. You good. All right, got it. All right, can y'all hear him? Hey, everybody put yes if y'all can hear him. All right, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that was a pretty stand-up thing that Mark Cuban did for Kyrie. And, you know, when you have owners who appreciate your stance as far as religion is concerned, especially nowadays, because I'm pretty sure in any organization, especially nowadays, it's not a whole lot of people making a stand like Kyrie, especially against the jab, for his religious beliefs or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But to just talk about how the media went in on him when he directed people towards that documentary, even people like Shaq and Barkley, a lot of that is because, and I'm not trying to get your page banned or anything, they're afraid to offend their white bosses. Because anybody with half a brain, when you read the scriptures, you can see that those Jews, those Hebrews, they were black people. You know, when you read the account of Moses, when he goes before Pharaoh and he sticks his hand in his robe, and when it goes in, it's dark, but when he pulls it out, it's white like snow. Then he puts it back in and it's back to its normal complexion. Even the name of Egypt was Kemet, which means the land of dark faces. You know, when you think about even when Jesus was born, what was the first thing God told Joseph to do? He said, take the baby to Egypt. Why did he do that? So that little black baby Jesus could blend in with the other black babies in Egypt so Herod couldn't find him. These things are known.
Right.
Even when you think of the Apostle Paul, the Bible talks about how he was mistaken for an Egyptian daggerman.
Hold on. What's your name? What's your name again?
My name, Joby.
Joby. Okay. You about to start a whole new Bible study, and that's actually my first favorite subject is the Bible. My second is basketball. So you know, I'm Bible and basketball. So I get what you're saying, and I love what you're saying. I just it's just better suited for a different broadcast than this one, because I guarantee you if you open that can of worms up for me, this will be a whole new show.
It'll be a different show.
it'll be a different show for real. So please don't threaten me with a good time and get me started, man. I don't want to get into the Bible right now, man. That's my love, man. But yeah, I'm with you. You're right, man. What Mark Cuban did is dope. Totally different from how they handled it in Brooklyn. And hindsight being 2020, we get to see that Kyrie was right the whole time. He was right about the jab. He was right about so many other things. The Brooklyn Nets handled this so horribly wrong. And they lost Harden. They lost Kyrie. They lost KD. They lost a contending team. I mean, if you ever think about that Brooklyn Nets team, with KD and Kyrie there, Nick Claxton was on his way to being an all-star and a defensive player of the year candidate.
Yes, he was.
We haven't heard his name since KD left.
I agree, because I was watching that young star rise, and you're absolutely correct.
Exactly. Jock Vaughn was looking like a very good coach. Now he's without a job.
Right.
And this is what Sean Marks wanted. Out of all of this, when the smoke clears, Sean Marks is the last man standing. And that is the last dude. Like, you had 3 superstars in your office. You had 3 superstars in your arena and lost all 3 for Sean Marks. That should be a case study for every NBA owner, man. And I appreciate the phone call, though.
No problem.
All right,
Thank you
thanks.
for having me on.
Yep. It should be a case study. That needs to be Joe Tsai needs to be studied. His ego and wanting to make it seem like he had control over Kyrie Irving and his I don't know, his thirst to try to prove that, hey, look, man, I can make my player do whatever I want my player to do. Just to make it feel like he had control. He didn't back his player up during this the 2020 pandemic. Didn't back him up, and then that little tension and that little war started, and everything else was a pissing contest after that. And Josiah lost. He lost big time, and that's obvious. All right, so let's move on to unless we get one more phone call. I can take one more. I can take one more real quickly. Man, I'm mad that my Bluetooth did that. Oh man. Who sold his shares? Mark. Oh yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Right. So I posted on, and if y'all not part of the Facebook group on the Man Down Sports Facebook group, y'all go join the Man Down Facebook group. I mean, we have a lot of conversation there. But I posted exactly everything I just said. When I found out that the Dallas Mavericks was accommodating Kyrie Irving, and this is before I heard this Mark Cuban clip. And I was like, man, what a wonderful thing for Dallas to do. And I posted it in the Man Down Facebook group. And I said, take notes, Sean Marks and Josiah. This is how you treat any player, not just a superstar player. This is how you treat a player, right? When you actually care. I said this in foresight before I heard Mark Cuban say that. And here comes this one guy who wants to be a contrarian, comes out and say, well, that's not Mark Cuban or the ownership that's doing that. He sold his shares. I was like, yeah, but he's still involved in basketball operations. Then he comes back. And says, well, basketball operations don't deal with the food. What are you talking about? And I'm glad. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about, man? Like, basketball operations deal with everything basketball. You don't think feeding? I said, you know what? Don't even worry about it. But I'm glad that Mark Cuban came out and cleared all that up. Just because I sold my shares don't mean I'm not dealing with these basketball operations to players. And if you go out watch the interview, he explains why he sold his shares. Very interesting conversation he had with Draymond Green. And I'm glad that he was transparent and talked about that, man. I thought that was dope, man. T-Ray, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man?
I'm good.
Pretty interesting topic right there. Pretty interesting, man, that he was able to speak on the truth with all of that, man. And Cuban has always been against the grain. You can't really pigeonhole him one way or another, because I can tell you it's some things that he says and he stands by that I don't agree with at all. But then on the flip side, he'll do something like this that'll show you that, you don't always have to agree with somebody to respect him. And I respect him being who he is and having the stature that he does. And he's able to, he's got some humility about himself, and him doing that, he can set a standard. Hopefully that'll be followed by other owners, not in just basketball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they tend to look at these athletes as just a piece of meat, when indeed, which is what Marks and that other guy did. When they could have just really, they could have killed that fire real quick, and then worked with that team and actually had the Nets as a competitive team in the East. But they wanted to be right.
Yes.
And they wanted to flex power.
Yes.
And that's why they did what they did to Kyrie.
Yep.
Being a free thinker and having a notion of the common sense that God gave you, that's frowned upon in 2024.
Yeah.
So he's been villainized for that, called crazy and whatever.
Correct.
But people don't really, because people fear what they don't understand.
And here's another thing, and I like that you said being a free thinker like Kyrie Irving is frowned upon, but also being a free thinker helps you understand that whole situation when it was going on. And everyone everybody who was on the side of Stephen A. Smith and the Brooklyn Nets, where are they at now? Because they look silly. And I know a lot of them are in my friend groups, and a lot of them had conversation. I'm telling you, like, look, y'all looking at this thing.
I don't forget.
All wrong. I don't forget either. And I want to know where they at.
Yep.
I want to know where they at.
The same. These are the same people, and I hate to even go there, but they're the same people that was running around here wearing face doctors, looking at you funny if you didn't do it or you didn't roll your sleeve up. You know, so that's just what I'm saying. You know, if you got a mind to think for yourself and to see, you know, what's in front of you, people, instead of them, you know, they should be asking you questions instead of, you know, just castigating you as being weird or crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, but I think that, you know, the way he is with Kyrie in that situation, that's going to compel, that's going to help Dallas. And I can see them making a run.
I can see them making a run too. They look real good. And the thing about Dallas and Luka and Mark Cuban is a couple of things. Mark Cuban don't go with the flow if he don't like it in the NBA. So he's an owner that, you know, he's the type of person that you know, he ain't gonna let you just bully his team, right? And he go call it, go call it out, right? He go call it out. That's number one. Number two is Luka is a superstar that the NBA wants to market. So that's the perfect place for Kyrie Irving to kind of hide, because when he was playing with Kevin Durant is the opposite of that. He's a superstar that the NBA is done marketing him. Like, we're done with KD.
Done with him.
Right.
Exactly.
So they don't mind the Brooklyn Nets showing up in the first round against Boston, and they called a game where it was almost impossible for them to beat Boston. Right.
My God. They allowed them to get solar plex, body slam.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. Now they would never allow that for Luka. So Kyrie Irving is in the perfect spot, because I get to be me, and I got an owner and a superstar as my wall of protection, where it was the opposite. His owner was against him. His GM was against him in Brooklyn, and he had a superstar with no protection. It was just a crazy thing.
He can just focus on ball.
Exactly.
Now he can just focus on playing ball, and then being the leader that he don't get credit for being too.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Because he's got the experience, the know-how, and he's able to he leads by example, as well as, you know, he's a hands-on player that people don't give him credit for that.
I agree.
So yeah.
I agree. But all right, man, let me move to this topic, because everybody waiting for what LeBron said, man. So I'll go ahead and close the phone lines up and move to the next topic.
All right, bro. I'll be back in the chat.
All right. Yeah, man. Crazy situation, man. Yeah. Why everybody laughing at the shirt, man? Y'all don't like the diddler? No diddling, baby. Just like Swiper. You gotta say it 3 times, man. Diddler, no diddler. Diddler, no diddling. Diddler, no diddling. And then he'll stop. You know, that's the only way you can get him to stop, man. So I just want to let everybody know that via t-shirt, man. So you know, it's almost like giving a vampire garlic or something like that. You know what I mean? So oh man. All right, so let's